Greetings, listeners, and welcome to another session brought to you by the Wednesday Night Crew. Tonight is a hiatus one-shot episode of the game system Vaesen, brought to you by the fine folks at Free League Publishing. Welcome to the mythic North. In dark forests beyond the mountains, by black lakes and hidden groves, at your doorstep, in the shadows, something stirs. Strange beings, twisted creatures, lurking at the edge of vision, watching, waiting, unseen by most, but not by you. You see them for what they really are. Vaesen. Welcome to the mythic North, Northern Europe of the 19th century, and not as we know it today, a land where the myths are real. Cold reach covered by vast forests, its few cities lonely beacons of industry and enlightenment. A new civilization dawning, but in the countryside, the old ways still hold sway. There, people know what lurks in the dark. They know to fear it.
All right, Wednesday Night Crew, we got a short staff here. 3 players and 1 game master tonight. We're going to be playing Vaesen, the Nordic horror role-playing game from Free League. I've got to put up front that I've only played this game once, but I've run the same campaign or the same mission that we're going to be doing this evening. So Vaesen, as a quick introduction, takes place in the 1800s of Scandinavia, Sweden area. The player characters are, first off, Vaesen is kind of like a fairy creature, a monster, a ghost, any type of these supernatural beings that would exist. Only some humans can see them, and the humans that the player characters are playing, they have what is called the sight, or they're known as Thursday's children, and they can see these Vaesen, and they've experienced Vaesen, and because of that, they are become part of what's known as the Society, a secret organization that handles the Vaesen, and it's been kind of quiet for a long time. There's a lot of background to it, but we don't have to get too much into it in the one shot. But basically, they're starting up the society again, based on an NPC that they've met in the past, and they have themselves a castle as their base of operations. And why don't we go ahead and introduce our characters and give us who we are and where we're at. Let's start with Andrew.
I am Astrid Eklund. I am a middle-aged academic. I look quite a bit like, I've been told, Ingrid Bergman.
Who hasn't yet been born in the 1800s, but still. Very good. Sean, we'll go with you next.
Yes. I'm Torin Lindberg. I've been a hunter for quite some time. I like to live with nature, tracking whatever I need to feed, use my trusty rifle to shoot my food. But don't think of me as a hermit. I've got a nice house, nice job, good income. Still, I like being in the woods the best. That is all.
And finally, Jonathan.
I am Victor Afblak, and I am a young priest just starting out. I have witnessed horrors both from the church and by the church, but I stand with them throughout as I begin my righteous path of righteous devotion.
All right, very good. Let's get started. It is a cold and dreary fall day in Castle Gillenkreutz, the home of the society, when a message is received. And let me know. I sent something in the chat. Let me know if somebody can, if it's open, if it can be opened, and if it can be, please read it. Any luck with anyone?
Yes.
Then please read the note that was sent to you.
The dance of dreams, a shadow play of horror, murder, and revenge. Let yourself be enraptured and terrified by shadow theater with clockwork as amazing as that of Master's construction on the continent. Watch as evil smiles, good people go to their doom, and spirits come to life. Follow Oscar Heroit encounter with the Black One, his struggle, and finally the betrayal which claimed his life. Hear the tunes of the enchanted flute that sends souls dancing to hell. The show will premiere shortly at the Witch Cat Inn, not for the faint of heart. Meet me tonight at the Witch Cat Inn. Olas in Thrall.
So that's at the bottom of the text. Is somebody like it's kind of like it seems like a handmade kind of show bill, but kind of nice. So but in different font at the bottom, somebody has actually written, "Meet me tonight at the Witch Cat Inn, Olas." Olas Klimt. Does it has a full name correct?
It says Olas on our version.
Olas.
Just Olas. All right. So yeah, that is a note that is sent to the society that you guys have received.
There's worse ways to spend a night than with drink and entertainment, especially on a dark night such as tonight. What else do we have going on? Perhaps this Olas knows something.
Yeah, I'm due for a bit of time off. I can only stare at books so much in a day.
You priest, are you allowed to drink or no?
No, I choose. I'm actually underage, if you can believe it. Here, it is. No. I'm rather interested in that flute that sends souls screaming back to hell. This sounds like it could be a tool for the church for good, to banish the evil spirits. Perhaps there is a grain of truth with this tale.
Perhaps, but these things are older than your church. This is a night for drinking. But you go ahead and play with your flute, priest. I'll have a drink.
Would anybody like to take this time to do any type of learning, any type of study or, figure out what, try to glean anything from this this note that you received, do any type of research? There would be, there would be a library in the castle, or, there would be one actually in the city that you live in.
Learning is my jam, so yeah.
We had.
How would I roll that?
Well, you have a skill called learning, as a matter of fact, and it does look like you have a pretty high learning over here.
And in the show bill, it mentioned follow Oscar Hilt's encounter with the Black One. Those were the two proper words in there.
Yep. All right. So what exactly would you be looking for, Astrid, specifically? What would you hope to? Because it sounds like Victor is going to be looking for Oscar Hjort and the Black One, as it were.
Let me read the playbill again.
Yeah, no problem. No problem.
Do we know of the Witch Cat Inn?
Well, you can also. Why don't you all then give me a learning? It sounds like you're all doing a little bit of studying. So Torn will be talking about looking for the Witch Cat Inn. Victor for the Oscar Hjort and the Black One, and Astrid, anything you're reading it. There's the Shadow Theater. There's any other type of general stuff. I mean, there's Olas. This name Olas. Any one of these things.
I could research the Shadow Theater.
All right. So yeah, give me your learning rolls. So I'm looking at Astrid. You'd have 8 dice.
Yeah, I only got 1 success.
Well, one success is more than enough. So you realize that the Shadow Theater, it's a type of basically it's almost like a type of play, and where it originated in India and China, where it was practiced several centuries before Christ. Even it's a very old and ancient art. Cut out paper figures are held up to a source of light, which creates shadows on a cloth screen. A skilled puppeteer can manipulate the puppets and the light so that the figures appear to be alive. The art form came to Italy in the 18th century and continued to spread across Europe. Artists in England and France have experimented with clockworks to create automated shadow theaters. And that is what you know about shadow plays and shadow theater. Warren, how about yourself? What kind of learning role did you receive? Any success?
Black cat in, which cauldron in, which call bar. I could not find anything on any of those places. Nothing is known to me.
Well, I mean, not necessarily. You could take a condition. Angry fright. Let's give you.
I will get angry and roll again. Do I get extra dice or no?
No.
These other men in the society and their book learning has never been much for me. It still is not, even with the push. It makes me angry.
That's all right, because it says here that on a failure you still get the information. So you come back just angry, but you spent all day looking at the libraries. You should be going. So you're just holding on to this anger. So mark down that you have this one mental condition, but you do realize that the Witch Cat is an inn at the crossroads north of a town called Sigtuna. And when the society was rebuilt after the great Oulu fire at the end of the 18th century, the inn was used as a gathering place. As the innkeeper at the time, Pyri Harjula was a Thursday's child like yourselves. Today, the inn is run by Pyri's grandson, Sammy Harjula.
Sammy. I've heard of him.
That makes you angry, though, for whatever reason, And Victor, how about yourselves?
One success for Victor.
All right. So while looking through the past society member list, you see that there was the list of society members mentions a man named Oscar Hiort who lived in the late 18th century. He worked as a writer and spent some time in Paris, studying under Francois Dominique Séraphin, a famous artist who put on shadow plays for the court at Versailles and the Palais Royal. And the black one, that to you can mean many things. It could be a devil. It could be a betrayer. It could be just a swarthy person, a dark person. That's what you come up with for the black one, or just someone of evil intent. It could be any one of these number of things, but there's nothing specific to you about the black one per se.
Well, I will share this with everyone, and I make a special note to mention the shadow plays that he was involved with, since it seems we will be going to one of those.
Yes, and I assume Astrid will also share their information about the shadow theaters. All right. At this point, you guys all decide you're heading out to the Witch Cat Inn at the crossroads. And it is, you leave Uppsala in a coach heading south, and there is a terrible storm raging. Should I wait for Andrew to come back? Maybe I should wait for Andrew to come back. You can take, yeah, we're already down enough people that we should wait a moment.
When did you previously run this at the castle?
Yeah, I believe I ran it last summer at the castle. Also of note, if you get 4 conditions, you will be broken, and there's tables to roll for that.
Got it.
Not sound like something fun.
No. But I mean, it would be also like depending on, like mental, it'd have to be for a mental or for physical. So you can technically, by all that, still get 6 conditions before you have to be broken, depending on how it works out. I think, at this moment, we can do what's called advantages while we're traveling. And what an advantage is that we can do a short scene of, I guess, kind of how you guys would be prepping for this adventure. And what it does, like mechanically, it's going to give you 2 dice on a skill check later. And, it's up to you what you want to do. Like, you spend the day at target practice. So therefore, later on, you're going to get a +2 on that. Or, you're talking in the mirror to build your confidence. So maybe, you get a manipulation, empathy roll, whatever you want. So like, I guess at this point, Torn, what would you like to be for your advantage on this mission here? And how do we go about doing that?
I'm going to field strip Stella, my rifle. Oil her up, get her nice and clean, make sure everything's in order. Give her a nice kiss on the stock to let her know she's loved.
All right, it's oiled up as well as your rifle can be as you head on to your coach, and you've got this in your protective case. You can go ahead and give yourself +2 on rage combat just for this mission. What about Victor? What's Victor going to do for advantage?
So Victor will be reading through his personal Bible and repeating scripture quotes to himself, working on a couple of those for either inspiration or manipulation, depending on how it had come up.
Sounds good. So Andrew, Astrid, we're doing what's called advantage, where we do like a little scene before the journey starts to give you +2 skills in whatever skill you want. You just kind of have to like do how are you prepping yourselves for the mission, as it were.
I'm gonna
go
bring
ahead.
a couple tomes of my I'm out of accent. My favorite tomes on classic Vaesen, so that I can a handy reference to consult if we needed.
Very good, very good. So at this point, you all meet up. You get on your coach. It's the coach is heading south, and there's a terrible storm raging. Black clouds blanket the sky, with the wind howling and rain and hail pouring down, leaving you soaked to the skin. Lightning cracks across the sky, and the thunder makes the horses rear and whinny. But the coachman drives them on with his whip. The journey takes 3.5 hours, and the storm grows increasingly violent as you progress. Through the coach windows, you see Lake Millar in the west, its foaming waves splashing against the shoreline. Traveling through a pine forest, you see tall trees being knocked to the ground by tempestuous winds or split by lightning strikes. In the flashes of lightning, you see large rocks among the trees, moss-covered lumps staring back at you. Suddenly, the Witch Cat Inn appears at a T-junction surrounded by woods, with Lake Millar to the north and west. It seems to be the only building around. The coachman is eager to drop you off and continue on his route south to Sigtuna. Halfway between the inn and the small community in the distance, you see a lonely church tower protruding from the trees. So you are at a, like this T intersection. It heads to the west. It goes to this lake. To the south is Sigtuna, another small town. You see a church tower in the distance to the south, and you see a man waiting in the stables of the Witch Cat Inn, which it's got 3 stories. The top story you can tell is like more like of an attic space than a full story. You see a stable to the one side. Like I said, there's a man there. He's smoking a pipe. He seems to be mighty interested in, you, and he kind of like nods and kind of gives a wave when you're there.
Does he look like a servant, or is this perhaps Olaus?
He looks like he's a well-dressed man. He seems to be like his clothes are a little worn, but otherwise they look pretty nice. He's got glasses. He looks like an educated man. He doesn't look like what you would seem to be like a stable boy or a servant here. He seems to be like too well dressed for that, I guess, as it is.
And then I will assume it is Olaus. And I suppose we can alight the carriage. So I get out, basically.
I think we got kicked out of the carriage, and the guy went riding off.
Yeah, basically, he was like, "Here's your stop," and then he like,
oh boy. So we'll be like, all right, you there? This the Black Witch Inn? What the hell is this place called?
Come on into the stables. Get yourself dry at least for a moment before we head in. Let me tell you, I'm glad you came. I'm glad you came. My name is Olaus Clint. I know of the society. I know of our friend, our mutual friend Linnea Elephant. With the society and everything. I'm also interested in the occult, the Vaesen, everything, all of these things. I'm very familiar with them, and I heard that you were reopening the society, and I thought, oh, this is perfect because I've got something for you right away. Here we are.
You know an awful lot about us. You sent us the flyer?
That's right. These flyers I've seen them many places around, just in the, within a mile or so, with very, very much in, the local vicinity, but I've seen them around. And, so I know about, I actually came to this, the same inn not too many days ago. And, yeah, there a lot of strange things are happening here. A lot of strange things. There was a power here, very frightening power. Scared me half to death. Many of the guests have say they've had strange dreams here. All of these things. Something I know. Like I know there's some strange power here. I felt it here, and I saw these flyers, and I thought, oh, that's this is an event. Strange things happen. This is a perfect time to get the society involved. I'm glad you're here. Would you like some tobacco?
No, thanks. I'm trying to quit.
Sure. But what do you know of us, and what do you expect us to do?
Well, like I said, we have our mutual friend Linnea. She's, I think we know. I know that you know that we I've seen the things, you've seen the things. Let's not try to. I understand that we don't talk about it among non-Thursdays children, but we're all Thursdays children here. So, I guess we're looking for answers, right? Want to see what's going on in this inn. As I said, I felt something here, and I tell you, it frightened me. But I thought, well, if I can get some help, some other investigators will find this problem, solve it, right? He looks at you, Victor. I mean, especially if it's something very bad, right? We'd want to take care of it, nip it in the bud.
Of course, we must be vigilant of all evil things that may come to pass here.
Yes,
but you too have the
you on the
blessing.
back. Yes, vigilant. Yes.
You too have the blessing and the curse of the site. Yes.
Oh, you've said it. You said it perfectly. Blessing and a curse. More cursed, if you ask my opinion. But I mean, I'm sure we all have our stories of when and how we've seen these things, but well, it's tragic. It's very tragic.
Well, it's,
For me, at least. For me.
It's my first job since joining the society, so I'm rather eager to get on and see what this great evil entails.
That's the spirit. I'm sure with the four of us all, and perhaps others who might join later, we will figure this thing out.
Leave it open.
And just in case, there's always a new coach coming every 2 hours, I think.
Don't worry, we left your note on the table there. If any of them come to the headquarters and see it, I'm sure they will make post haste our way.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. Well, I guess without further ado, does anybody want to do an observation check, kind of, take a look at this Olos and find out, see what his deal is, see if you see anything.
Yeah, I do, because I don't really trust him.
Fair enough. He's an NPC. I get it.
So I got a success on my observation roll.
All right. So
one success.
Very good. So, like, it seems like Olos himself is kind of like twitchy. He seems kind of nervous, like he's afraid. And also it seems that he is hiding something. You're not entirely sure what it is that. It just seems like he's not being full with you, like completely honest with you. And he seems afraid.
I would like to just keep that in my back pocket for the moment.
Got it.
What's the difference between vigilance and observation?
Well, how about I look it up in this?
It looks like vigilance uses logic, so I would assume that might be more scientific versus observation, which is empathy. Just a guess.
Well, I will look it up in the skills here. Vigilance. You use vigilance to notice someone sneaking up on you. The person doing the sneaking makes so like for sneaking. Furthermore, vigilance can be used to interpret situations you are monitoring. So like you could kind of, watch it. Whereas observation, when talking to another person or spending time in their presence, you can use observation to understand what they're thinking, feeling, or planning.
So vigilance is kind more of like environmental.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. You're watching an environment, whereas observation, you're watching a person. And if you have any other questions about skills, let me know. But I keep that open for later if it needs to come up.
I want to, Mr. Olaf, are there any person or persons in the inn that we should keep an eye on?
Well, I mean, I guess we're looking to see maybe something about this, and he pulls out his own another copy of the flyer. I mean, I maybe this flyer, this event, the Shadow Theater, this is kind of a thing. So if I kind of figure out who's actually putting on the show, where the show's at. I know there's the innkeeper who will know something, and I guess we just talk to the locals and see who's there. I mean, I think from my understanding, business has been a little slow. Well, with all the events, like I said, strange occurrences. The place is kind of, frankly, on the inside, it's a little bit dilapidated, and I'm trying to. It seems unusual to me that it would be, it's a fairly popular area, fairly popular, crossroads here, but it's very dilapidated, and there's people, business is fine enough. It's been along for a long time, so it's just very dilapidated, which is strange. We could talk to guests, see if they've had any of these also dreams. So these are, I guess that's what we're looking for here. I'll let you guys take the lead, but I'm definitely here for backup for you if you need help.
One last thing before we go in is the church to the south. Do you know who runs that?
No, I'm afraid I only stayed the night. I haven't really, situated the situation fully. I just, so I don't know, but I think it's about a kilometer or so away from that church. So, if you need to pray, we can make the hike, I suppose. But frankly, I don't want to be walking too far in this terrible storm.
If we must go, we will. But I took care of my rituals before we left.
Well, same here. And at this point, he puts out his pipe. He says, "Well, after you, then, if we're all set."
I'm not going to let him get behind us.
Okay.
So, Torin, are you still keen on clouding your judgment before we go on to the job?
Always.
Then I'll buy the first round.
So I guess at this point, it's just it's a couple. It's not too far from the stable to the front door, but he basically he won't get behind you because Torin, maybe Victor and Astrid run, and then he kind of just runs on your side, like, oh, let's runs into the through the weather to get to the under the awning of the top. You notice when you open the door, the front door, like the handle of the doorknob itself it's kind of like loose, and it almost basically falls off while you pull it open. Like it stays on, but it's so wobbly, it's crazy. You walk in, you're in a dining room. To your left, you see a kitchen. There are three guests here, three separate tables. You notice a man. He's just kind of drinking a big ale. You see a woman, and she almost stares daggers as the door opens, like really just stares daggers at who you are and makes sure she observes every one of you. And then you see a priest at another table, an older priest, and he's drinking his wine. You see his rosy cheeks, and every now and then he's coughing. There is a waiter that is going around making the rounds. You see what you assume is the innkeeper standing behind the bar, and he's yelling into the kitchen, putting orders in. And there's a double fireplace. It's warm in here, but you also notice that despite the light and the warmth, there's still a lot of gloom in the shadows. And you notice a lot of pots and pans in various areas that are just catching, random drops, of water coming from the ceilings or from the side. As you stand there, you shut the door, you take it all in. Just all of a sudden, one of the windows cracks, and you think you're not sure if it's from the wind or whatever, but it startles everybody. It stops, stops the talking for a while, and then you all just take that in, and then I guess at this point the innkeeper sees you. He says, and he's a man in his 40s. He's got a big bushy beard, bald head, and he's like, "Welcome to the Witch Cat Inn. Welcome, Sven, find them a seat, find them a table. There's plenty of tables." And then he goes back to yelling behind the kitchen, into the kitchen in the back. At this point, the waiter comes up to you and says, "Oh, hi there. My name is Sven. Welcome to the Witch Cat Inn. Would you care for a table, or would you like to sit at the bar? What would you like?"
Table's fine.
"Oh, please, follow me. And he takes you to an open table for the four of you. As you sit down, you notice the table itself kind of just wiggles a lot. It's like, oh dear. Sven says, when did this start? And he like starts wiggling at himself like, this is unusual. Well, I'm very sorry about that. And he like kind of just shoves like a shim underneath that, Very sorry about that. Very sorry about it. What can I get you guys to start off with?
Ale.
I'll have a white wine spritzer.
And for you, Father?
Ale as well for me.
Very good. There's we have a wonderful herring soup for the day. If you'd like that's great. I can bring out some bread, some soup for you guys.
That sounds wonderful. We've been on the road for about 3 hours, so.
Well, I tell you, in this storm, this weather, it's nice to have a little warm up. All right, I'll get those drinks out for you and get some soups for you guys. Thank you.
All right, so what is our strategy? I want to talk to the barkeep about the perhaps the origin and the name of the inn.
You'd mentioned there was another priest over at the bar.
Yeah, there is another priest. He's an older priest. He kind of, he's coughing into a handkerchief, but he looks over at you, and he kind of gives you like a welcome nod, like oh, you're also a priest. Very good, very good.
So I will like to go talk to him once I get a bite in me.
And what about Torn? What's the plans there?
Astrid, you're talking to the barkeep, yes?
Yes.
When you go up there, ask him if he's Sammy. Ask him if he's Sammy.
Sammy.
I knew his father or grandfather, whoever owned this place. The name came up. Anywho, who else? There's the woman at the table, and who else? There's another third.
There's a third man. He's just he's just sitting there drinking, enjoying himself. Every now and then he'll talk to Sven, and you could tell the waiter, and you could tell that he seems like he knows him pretty well. Like they kind of laugh at him, every now and then. He's have like a long conversation. So it seems like he's more than just random guess. He's a known person, and now that you've sat for a while and you're taking it all in, you notice a young girl also comes in, and she speaks to her father. Or she speaks to the innkeeper, and you could see the it looks like a father-daughter kind of situation, and he just kind of glares at her, and then she kind of like shrinks back and then heads off back upstairs. So let us start then with Astrid. You're going to the barkeep.
Yes, I go to the barkeep, and when he turns his attention to me, I ask for another drink. And then I start out, is your name by any chance Sammy?
Yes, that's right. My name is Sammy. I'm run the witch cat in here.
Oh, what a coincidence. I have a friend who knew your father. I could introduce him to you. I kind of nod over in Torrens' direction.
I've never seen the man before, but I've grown here all my life. I've lived here all my life. Like my father, my father's father, my father's father's father. This has been passed down for generations. My daughter, she'll be taking over for me. You got to train the next generation, I always say, but I hope to be here for a long, long time. And he knocks on wood. He doesn't knock on wood.
Does it fall down?
He just kind of slams his hand on the table, and like one of the shelves behind him actually cracks. Like, son of a, and he starts what? I just put this back together yesterday. And he's, I tell you, I don't know what is happening around here.
Has there been a lot of mishaps lately? Or is it just how it goes here?
Oh, how it goes. I tell you, this old place. It's like, I don't know. Have you ever Have you ever had something that you've had for so long? It seems like there's always something, right? Always something. It feels like lately there's always something else. I guess I can blame this foul weather, this foul accursed weather.
Could
This
be,
place is
or
falling apart, and I try my hardest. I tell you, I try my hardest. I could use some of that newfangled anything, whether it's newfangled concrete or drywall or any of these, something to really get this place more up to date, more modern, as it were, less falling apart. I would love that. I would love that.
but if you did replace everything, would it still be your grandfather's inn?
Well, I mean, the bones are good, right? The foundation down here, we've got the cellar in the back. I don't want to get too philosophical here. It's more of the, I mean, this is my place, and I think it would be fine. It'd be fine. It just needs to be updated. That's all.
The name of this inn is rather unusual. Witch cat. Does that go back to your grandfather? And do you remember the origin of this name?
Oh, I'm sure there's some local superstitious nonsense about a local witch, who all that silly superstition, silly Dark Ages thinking about a witch here a long time ago. I'm sure it was just some poor woman with too many ideas in her head, as it were. Regardless, I don't buy into
don't
it.
Trust women with ideas. I know.
It's too much of a story, it's just a story. Cute. Tell me about the witch. It's nothing. Just some poor woman.
All right. I will wrap up our business. Take my drink back to the table, and when Torin finishes his task, I will introduce him to the bartender.
Torin, what was your plan of action? Did you have one?
Not really. I was gonna make sure that was Sammy, but I also want to ask Sven. When's we heard there's a show start. When's the show? The Shadow Theater.
Oh, at this point, he kind of he takes a moment and he looks at the bartender, and just kind of sees. Seems like he sees that he's busy, and is like, oh well, I could tell you that. That's more to do with his daughter, I guess would put that together. That's Sophia, and he points her out as she's walking around, and she kind of comes and goes from the room. You'd probably have to talk to her, I would think. I'm not entirely sure what that girl's been into ever since her mom, well, I guess left, and then she left and she passed away. The poor girl's just been out of sorts, as it were. So this is probably some more of that stuff.
So is there a show tonight or what? I got to talk to her. We traveled 3.5 hours.
Yes. I'll send her over if you'd like.
Oh, sure.
Okay, I'll do that. And he goes and he leaves off. And Victor, you're going to the other priest, correct?
Correct.
Oh, young father, young brother of the cloth. Come have a seat.
Thank you, Father. What brings you to these parts? Do you pastor that church just to the south here, or are you visiting? Well,
no. As a matter of fact, I am the head pastor of the head priest of the Bilby Church down there. After the day's vestments are done, this is where I come to see how the locals are doing, and see if there's any more administrations I need. Fortunately, the locals have been less willing to come out, as it were, lately. But I could always use more of a drink myself here.
I raise my hand and try to flag down a bartender to get another drink this way.
Yeah. So the Sven, the one bartender, he comes and the one waiter comes, he gets you another drink.
Here,
How
Father.
about you? How about you, brother? What are you? What brings you to these parts? I've not heard of I've not called for any young priests. I could, perhaps use a fellow brother at a church.
That's not what brings me this way, Father. It is a more potentially unsightly manner. We've heard some rumblings that something dark may be happening over this way, and I was wondering, have you had any confessions recently that send chills up your spine, or has anyone been possessed in this region?
No, I'm not so sure about possession. But I do have heard of. I have heard of people that well, I guess some of the guests here, they spend the night here, and I guess I see them at the church the next day, as it were. Usually they have a story of strange dreams they've had, strange visions, I suppose. As if they're being dreams of suffering, as it were. Terrible nightmares of getting their throats slit with a knife, or that being buried alive, or that their best friend is the devil. These kind of strange things. Even one person even told me that they felt like they were a performer on stage, and just he was in one of these actorly types, the type. But he was an actor, and he said, I was taking the stage, and I was stabbed with a real knife, and I was bleeding to death while the audience clapped and applauded as I died on stage. And for them, I just said, well, I'm sure it's just stress of, kinds of things. But yes, I have heard strange stories and all these nightmares, and I give them their blessings and I move them along. But as I said, they don't stick around. They don't come back often.
Have any of the ones that have spoken to or of the devil said anything that the devil has said to them? And the reason I ask is one of my confessor things here has to, no, not confessor things. There's something there's something on my sheet that refers to the devil. So I would take a particular interest in hearing the
Gotcha.
The voices. What have they said? What has the devil spoken to them of?
It's almost as if they know the devil, as it were, like as if the devil is. Well, I guess the story is they say that it's their best friend, or and imagine if their best friend was the devil themselves, so they would talk as if the devil himself is a wily one, as you know. He'll take on these many forms, and I guess in these dreams he's taken on the forms of someone's best friend.
I know all too well, Father. I know all too well.
Bless you, brother. Bless you.
Well, we will be here overnight. If anyone comes to you saying that the devil is pulling at their shoulder or whispering in their ear, would you tell me? Should we stay the night? I will see you in the morning over at your church.
Yes. I'll definitely. I don't stay the night. I've got my own place back there. It's actually getting rather late as it is, but that storm keeps howling out there, and I'd rather warm up with a drink than chill my bones out there. Hopefully it'll die down within the next hour or so, and then I can head home. But yes, in the morning, come see me. We'll break bread, and we can do our daily prayers together. It'll be good for the soul.
Of course, Father. Yes. Are you not staying for the show here tonight? I've heard of a shadow show of sorts that is part of the reason we were brought here.
What do you? I know not of this show. Tell me more.
There's a show of mechanical wonder and potentially dark spirits. I was wondering, since you were here, if you had heard of it, if they have performed before, or if this is a one-night event.
That is unusual. I would definitely a surprise to me to hear of this. What with Sammy's feelings on the matter. It's probably another. Oh, it's probably an idea of the daughter. She's become strange in the last few months. I've tried to talk to the last, but she keeps mostly to herself. She's very shy, as it were.
The devil has not whispered to her, has he?
To my knowledge, no. I hope not. Her mother passed away recently, and
rest her soul. Rest her soul.
Yes, of course. The grieving process, I'm sure, is affecting her, and I've tried to talk to her and help her out in ways, but you can only help. You can only help so much.
Of course, we lay the path, but we do not walk it ourselves. Yes,
you're very wise beyond your years, young father. Well, my name is Niels, by the way. Niels, so pleased to meet you. All right, what's everybody up to?
All right, so we're back at a table, and
yes,
I found out that this inn is old indeed and has gone back through the family for several generations. The mishaps that we have witnessed a few of, the cracking window, the crumbling bookcases, may or may not be a recent event. And back in the early history of the inn, there was a woman who may or may not have been a witch. And regardless, as such things go, she was possibly executed. So I didn't really I should have done an observation check. I didn't really get much from Sammy. I could introduce you to him if you'd like, Torin.
Perhaps later. It sounds as if you've gotten the important information. I believe I've passed through this town before and met his father. Being as old as I am, I've seen most of the people in the area at some point or knew their family. Hey, Sven, how about another round of drinks for us? And would you buy there's a regular over there, eh? Perhaps you could have him join us. We'll buy his next drink.
I would also like to, with the books that I brought, look up witches and possible witches' curses, if they're even possible to exist beyond the grave, and what they might be, or what forms they might take.
Yeah, absolutely. At this point, Astrid's over here reading away. Sven comes by with drinks, and the former guest, the other guest comes up, and he's got kind of like a look of a farmer about him. He's got the dirty calloused hands of a farmer, but he seems like he's in good spirits and well into his spirits. And he comes and he slaps, he kind of comes between maybe the priest and Torin, and just puts his arm. Oh, thank you so much. This beer's from you. I have to give my thanks to you. Very, very good. Thank you. My name is Jonathan Nej. Pleased to meet you.
Better not to drink alone, Jonathan. Make yourself at home and have make some new friends.
Very good. At this point, he sits down, and like the chair he sits on, you hear it crack, and he falls down. Sammy, your place is falling apart. And he pulls up another chair, and he sits on the new unbroken chair as Sammy comes grumbling, pulling out the old broken chair away. Well, welcome to the Witch Cat Inn. Another chair, another piece of this curse. This place is cursed, I tell you. I love the place and I love Sammy, I do. But this place, I don't know what's going on here. It's something else.
Well, it's been around a while, eh?
True, but it hasn't been like this. I've been coming here most of my life. I probably came here before I probably should have been allowed to, as it were. Whether it was catching bringing my dad home for the night, or meeting my first girl here, whatever it is. Anyways, I've been here. I know the place, and this deterioration. This is a more recent event. You ask me. He kind of looks over and he sees that Sammy, the barkeep, is cleared off. He's like, if you ask me, the place is cursed.
Cursed how?
You see the drips. You've seen the chair. These things don't just happen. I tell you, this has only happened within the last, I'd say since the beginning of the year, maybe. Huh.
Well, that just means that it doesn't have a good caretaker. These things are easily fixed. You put some thatch on the roof.
No. Sammy's a great character. Sammy this is his pride and joy. He does everything. I've seen him oiling the doors. I've seen him retightening the screws. The same, fixing the. I'll tell you, I've seen him fix that body. He points to the staircase leading up. You see that bottom stair there? I've seen him fix it 3 times in the last few months. You're going to step on it right now? I'll tell you, your foot will go right through it. This place is cursed.
And yet you still come here, right? Must not be that bad.
Well, I mean, you have such generous folk as yourself offering free drinks for myself. Why would I stay away? I don't stay the night. I've got my own place in Sigtuna, not too far from here. Frankly, I don't know if I would stay the night here after what I've heard.
Well, what have you heard? Because I think we'll be staying the night. We've traveled quite the day so far to get here, and I'm not sure if it'll be coming. Coach will be taking us back.
I mean, look around you. See, we got 2 fireplaces going, and yet the darkness abides. Does it not? Can't you feel the gloom around you? I've heard people with terrible nightmares. A presence. Can't you feel it around you?
I don't know. Can I feel it around me? Dungeon master person, man with a plan.
I mean, I'm hoping that I'm laying down some thick atmosphere. Then maybe you can. I don't know.
Do I feel it's just a rundown place, or do I feel it's something more? Like, is this some sort of role?
I mean,
do I sense that there's something more, having the sight and all, or do I just sense that this is a piece of crap place that's not held up very well in a out of town, out of the way place, with only a few customers on a night when entertainment has been promised?
You can give me a vigilance roll, as you observe around you.
I got a success.
I mean, he's this man has specifically told you about this is only recently happening, so you take that into account. You do notice that it does seem like the shadows do seem darker despite the well-litness of the place. And just every now and then, you'll notice, like a tile in the ceiling or something just come loose, and it does seem like there's something not strange, but it seems more dilapidated than it should be. Like there's just like a kind of a sense that it is falling apart, but it shouldn't be falling apart, as it were.
All right. Fair enough, Jonathan. Well, perhaps we shouldn't stay the night here. Perhaps you could put us up, or we stay in the stables. What about our friend Olaus? Is he still sitting with us?
Yeah, he's still sitting there with you. He says, "No, I felt something here, Torn. I felt," and he kind of whispers it towards you, you know, like without. There is something more here to it. They say, you know, like what. There's a young girl. There's a show. We should probably, you know, look into that. Maybe, right? Find the girl.
Yes.
Or maybe find out about the mother. You know, Victor has mentioned the mother recently. These are the clues I think that we've gathered, and I think you can gather some more.
I would see if Sven can call the daughter over. Or maybe when Sven comes, we ask specifically about the show tonight. Because he didn't say anything about it, right?
He mentioned that you should talk to the daughter about it.
Okay, so we'll ask Sven to send the daughter over.
Is that good with everybody? Anybody else have any other plans?
Sure. Perhaps I've already spoken to the innkeeper. Perhaps you can go speak with him and speak of his father, and then discreetly ask what happened to his wife, whom I presume is his daughter's mother.
All right, I'll talk to. I rather than call Sven over right away, I'll go up to get our round of drinks from the barkeep.
All right.
Is one of the conditions in Vaesen, is it drunken?
It should be the way everything's flowing tonight.
And I'm not a lightweight, but I don't have the mass that you gentlemen have.
As we're sitting down at the table with the drinks, I also mentioned my conversation with the other priests and say, yes, the daughter seems to be the one putting on this show, and it seems to be a little more hush hush about her father. And I also mentioned that she's acted more weird since her mother has passed, and it was perhaps under unusual circumstances. So something is amiss.
All right, I will go up to Sammy the barkeep then, innkeeper.
Oh, welcome. What can I do for your old timer?
We've come from Uppsala for the night, and we're gonna need a place to stay. Hoping you have rooms.
Oh, absolutely. I've got plenty of rooms upstairs. There's, well, I mean, I guess I have 3 rooms upstairs. I've got one taken by this woman over here, and he points out to the woman, and almost as if she knows, like she's been eavesdropping on, like she's almost eavesdropping, and she like stares at you as like you turn and look at her, like she knows that she's being spoken of, and she's like looking at you.
I nod and give a tip of my hat.
Well, she just stares at you.
Very well. Well, one of my companions will have the room next to her. I'll take the other one. But I guess what I'm saying, Sammy, is I think I've been here before. I knew.
Was that right? Is that right?
Maybe it was your father or your grandfather. It's been a long time, and the years catch up with you. I guess what I'm saying is I want to stay the night, but I'm a little worried about the place. Look at the drips in the windows. I mean, are we going to have a good night's sleep, or is it going to fall apart around me? I mean, no offense, but I'm paying good money for a room. I want to be able to know that I'm going to wake up in a good shape.
Well, you know, this damn weather. You know, I can't control the weather. I can, you know. Unfortunately, there does. I'm gonna have to go up onto the roof once it dries off and try to figure out where these leaks are coming from. It's, you know, like again, I could, you know, it's terrible weather. I just this crazy storm. It must be doing something to, I don't know. Maybe there's bugs or termites or something.
Yeah, I mean the storm's not making the chair fall apart though, and the table will be uneven, and that stuff over there.
Jonathan,
What am I gonna do?
look at how drunk Jonathan is tonight. Wolf always sat on the chair poorly. At this point, another window just cracks. The wind, I tell you, the wind.
Is everything okay with you, Sammy? I don't know why I'm turning into an Irish accent, but here we are. The beer must be getting to me. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is we're here for the show tonight.
Show? What show?
Oh, we got a flyer about a shadow play. You know, an Oscar Hjort?
Let me see your flyer.
Hey, Father Victor, you got that flyer?
Yeah, I pull it out.
This here, a show at the Witch Cat Inn. Oscar Hjort, black one. What do you know about this?
The Dance of Dreams.
Oh, this is nonsense. And he crumples it up. There is no show tonight. Sophia, here, now.
Easy there. The only reason you got 3 paying customers here is for the show.
There is no show. And then Sophia comes up to her. He's like, into the kitchen now. You'll have to pardon me for a moment, old timer. And from the kitchen, like you hear the man yelling.
Can I sneak up to the door to try to hear better?
Absolutely. You can give me a
Stealth?
I guess a stealth would work.
Oh, it helps if I actually roll 4d6 and not just 4. 1 success, no failures.
All right. I mean, you move up. You notice. I like. So, if anybody else want to give me an observation roll while this is happening.
Yes, and
Sure.
I want to also be watching the woman as I do so. Who was staring at me before?
Sure.
No success on my part. I'm not willing to push it right at the moment.
Okay.
Okay, so observation, just general observation, looking around the room at the other participants, not specifically the woman. 2 successes.
Okay. So Astrid, you kind of notice Jonathan, the regular, and Father, who also seems like and even Sven, the waiter. They kind of like the 2 patrons kind of like look into their drinks, again, and Sven just kind of like he seems to kind of keep himself busy somehow, but like on the opposite side of where the kitchen is, where the 2 of them went. And so that's what you observe. While Victor, you're hearing yelling. You hear the bartender or the innkeeper, Sammy. He's yelling at his daughter. He's like, "This is more nonsense like your mother. This will not happen. You're here to run the bar and not get your crazy ideas of theater and any of this." And you can't really hear what the daughter she's saying. He's like, "I will not have this." And at this point, you hear a slap, and then like moments later, the girl just like runs out of the room and heads upstairs.
So no show? Did Victor tell us about the priests relaying details of dreams? Because if he did, it sounds like we have to stay the night and dream ourselves.
Yeah, I would have while we were all back at the table relayed.
All right. It also sounds suspiciously like the dreams are related to the show.
Well, the show is a dance of dreams. I wonder what they are.
And meeting the black one and
We must
betrayal and
we must speak to the daughter. We must.
Well then, up to our rooms. And
I
then
would imagine that
the daughter.
the family lives on the 3rd floor. So if we could maybe head up 2 levels and see if she's willing to speak to strangers.
Well, if you guys are going to do that, I'm going to talk to the woman that's here.
I would go attempt to. Victor would first attempt to talk to the bartender.
I will talk to the daughter.
All right. So Astrid is going up to the daughter. Torin is going up to the one woman NPC that we have not spoken to. And Victor is talking to the barkeep. So
Yes.
let us...
The goal with talking to Sammy is to try to get an invitation to go talk to the daughter. He's just doing it through the father. And
Got it. Trying to...
I'm using my empathy as a woman. Clearly that she's been slapped and maybe she wants to talk to someone.
All right. So Astrid, here's what we'll say. You follow the girl. She runs upstairs, and you follow upstairs, and you notice, there's a row, there's like a hallway. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 doors on your right. There's 2 doors on the left, and kind of another door kind of just around the corner. But you notice that the girl, she goes up into a trap door all the way up. She pulls down a trap door, goes up into the upstairs attic, and then she shuts the trap door behind her. And you hear her crying up there. So we'll leave that for you for now. She goes up to the attic, and Torin, you will go up to the woman. We'll go to you next.
Hey there, I saw you looking at me before.
What's it to you?
Nothing to me. Just
then mind your own damn business.
Well, thought I could offer to buy you a drink.
I don't know you, so I don't want to take a drink from you.
You wouldn't be taking it from me. You'd be taking it from Sammy. I'd just be facilitating it.
I don't want a drink. I'm not thirsty.
Odd to come to a bar then.
What's the matter to you where I go? Who are you? Asking me questions. Who do you think you are? Tell me who you are.
I'm Torin.
Okay.
I'm in from Uppsala. It just seems an odd place to be hanging out. You don't want a drink, and yet you're here. You could look around and see the place is falling apart.
Yeah, maybe I'm on my way somewhere else. Maybe it's none of your business what I'm doing here.
Yeah, we're all on our way somewhere else.
Yeah,
it's life, isn't it?
Isn't it life? And you get to just sleep out on the road there, or you sleep in an inn? What do you do, Torin?
Well, I've slept in many a place in my day. Today I sleep in this inn, the Witch Cat Inn.
Well, look at you, la-di-da. You sleep in an inn, just like a normal person would if they're traveling and going from somewhere else. Not that it matters what my business is to you.
Just making conversation. It's a dark and stormy night.
Yeah, well, maybe I don't want conversation on a dark and stormy night. Maybe I'm here enjoying my soup. I'm waiting to go to bed, and instead I have an old man in my face questioning me, which none of his business.
I don't think I'm in your face. I'm sitting on the opposite side of the table from you. But fair enough.
Well,
fair enough.
Good night to you, sir, whoever you are, and whatever you're doing here. What are you doing here? What are your, why would you come to the Witch Cat Inn? You see it's falling apart.
I had no idea it was falling apart when I came here.
Yet you still want to stay, huh? You're not going to catch the next, any particular reason you're at the Witch Cat Inn on this particular evening?
We heard there might be a show. Always in for some entertainment.
Is that a fact? Entertainment, huh? Well, I hope you enjoy
But I don't
the
see
show.
the show starting, so I thought maybe I'd talk to you for entertainment, but I guess I'm not getting entertainment there either, so I guess that's it then.
All right, and we'll leave you that, and I'm gonna hold on to that. And Victor, you're talking to the barkeep who
Yes.
kind of you see him. He's like wiping his glass, and he stares out off after his daughter as she runs upstairs. What can I do for you?
Has your daughter spoken to anyone of the cloth to talk through what's happening with her? Is it a conversation, or if that doesn't work, perhaps we can go to more slightly more forcible means to expel any dark spirits she might be experiencing?
Dark spirit. She's sad from her mother. She has too much of her mother in her.
What did happen to her, if I may ask?
Why don't you give me a I guess a manipulation roll to see. He seems kind of tight-lipped about it. He's like,
Okay. That is 3 successes.
well, father, and at this point, he seems
I get to roll 8 dice for that. So
nice. He seems like he like looks at your like he looks at your priest garments and whatnot. He kind of trusts you. He's like, consider this. I know that you'll like as a father you'll keep things to your between us. Her mother was full of ideas of being in an acting troupe and the arts. She would give Sophia, my daughter. She would give our daughter ideas about the same thing. When I put my foot down and said, "No, she must run the bar. She must run the inn. It's a family tradition." And well, he just kind of like he seems like almost angry in the past. She wouldn't listen, my wife, and she brought in these actors, and I told her I don't want those types in here. These acting troops. About a year ago, she brought in the acting troops and said there was going to be a show, and I said no. And she ran off with them. Can you believe it? My own wife ran off with these actors, with their whatever they do together. I don't even want to, what kind of things actorly types do with each other. And who knows what she was doing. She ran off with them. And then I was so angry at her, so angry that she would run off like that. And, when I heard later that she had died of cholera, in a sick bed. Well, forgive me, Father, but I felt she deserved what she got. And I know I shouldn't say that. But I mean, I don't even know what the truth is. I know that she's dead, but she ran off, and I don't know how she died. It was whatever those diseases those actorly types carry with each other. I'm sure she caught. Sure, it was more than just sickness. Oh, I'm sorry, Father. I'm sorry. I know I should not speak ill of the dead.
I'm so sorry for your loss.
Anyways, I've been trying to, tell my daughter that, this is, I hate to say this is what happens when you have these ideas, but her place here is with the inn, with her father. Isn't that one of the the commandments is honor thy father
and mother. But
the mother's dead now, but yes, honor thy father and the mother.
it is yes, yes, shall obey the parents. But this so she would really run off and abandon her husband and her child.
I know, isn't that terrible?
Just like that. That is.
Isn't that terrible with these, when they get these ideas in their head from these types, these actor types, these artists?
Feels like a compulsion almost to do that. It is
a betrayal of her oaths and her vows.
Indeed, it is most difficult. But has anyone talked to your daughter about this, about trying to correct her other than her father? Perhaps someone of the church can help her see the way back.
Well, I mean, she makes confession to Father over there, Father Niels. I know that it's between you, and I've tried to talk to him, but he says she seems pretty quiet, and frankly, he's rather confused about it as well. It seems, I suppose it's the grief that's getting her, but sometimes she seems forgetful, or that she's not always there, I suppose, or she says strange things and then doesn't recall saying them. She misses her mother, I know that, and I know I'm probably a little hard on her, but life goes on, Father. Life goes on.
Have you considered, and I go to a real hushed tone, have you considered an exorcism? It is, it's not standard, but if there's something with her, perhaps we can coax it out and get your daughter back. We just have to talk to her and...
Honestly, Father, in this modern age of ours, is that even something the church still does? It seems very... Listen, I'm not saying I lack faith, Father, but I believe in God, and I the Holy Trinity and all of that, but exorcism, that's... I just, there's something, is this something? I just don't, in this modern age, I just don't understand. I just don't.
There are strange things that happen, and when they do, we still have our strange ways to deal with them. Some things don't always adapt with the times.
I'm sorry, Father, but I think we'll keep the spiritual matters between our family with our local priest at the church, Father Niels. While I appreciate everybody has their own versions of faith, and you perhaps have a more different view of things, I think we'll just stay with Father Niels. Thank you. And at this point, he walks away. And I think at this point, after Victor, you've had your conversation. Torn, you've had your... Astrid, you've had... At this point, Torn, you're heading back. Victor, you're also heading back. You notice it's kind of chilly, more chilly in the air than it were, despite these roaring fires. You notice you get back to the table, and Olaus, he is, he's fast asleep. He is thumped down on the table. He is fast asleep. And you hear snoring over in the corner. And there is Father Niels, and he is also passed out at his table. And you see Jonathan, the third member, and he is passed out against leaning against the wall, and his eyes are closing fast as the temperature drops. It just feels chillier in here.
I'd like to try to wake up Olaus.
Yeah, you give him a good shake and he's just out.
So wait, Olaus, Jonathan, and who else was asleep?
The father.
And is the woman still there?
It's funny, you should look over her. She looked like she was heading up the stairs after she was talking to you, and she collapses on the steps. And and she's like leaning on the steps fast asleep as well. And it seems like the lights themselves have dimmed and there's kind of like a bluish tint to everything.
So everyone we see is asleep. The daughter and the father went upstairs, right? Because that's where you were talking to him, Victor.
No, he was right there at the bar, and you see. So he sees, like, he looks around confused, and he like looks in the kitchen. He's like, "Wake up, fool! Wake up!"
This happened often here, Sammy. Customers fall asleep.
This is very strange.
Was there something in that soup?
I sent it into the soup, and he's fast asleep as well. This is very strange, very strange.
When I was tapping on the trapdoor, has Sophia answered at all, or is she also?
Well, let's do that. Like as everybody downstairs has seen this strange sight of, like the temperature is cold, it's getting cold in there, and everybody's falling asleep except for you guys and the innkeeper. Astrid, you knock on the thing and you see that like the trapdoor just like kind of pops open a little bit. Yes.
Your father, I'm just a concerned stranger. Your father shows quite a bit of contempt for you and your profession, and I was wondering if you just want to talk to a sympathetic ear.
You can give me a empathy manipulation check.
Okay. Manipulation, that's only 3. So no successes.
Are you interested at all in pushing the roll?
Yes. What does that entail?
So you would take a mental condition.
I'm already drunk, so we can just, what do we call that? Exhaustion is closest.
There's so mental conditions would be angry, frightened, or hopeless.
Yeah, I'm getting the feeling that she's not going to come around. So let's try hopeless.
All right, so you click that you have a mental. You can re-roll, push the roll to.
So just another 3d6.
Oh yeah, roll another 3d6. Yeah, see if you get a success.
1.
There you go. All right. So yeah, so she opens up the trapdoor completely, and she says, "You can come up." Yes.
All right, I will come up.
Oh, and let's break off to the other two I would like the two of you, and you get to choose between logic or empathy. This is a fear roll, so you roll against your logic or empathy, your choice. So you either try to work through the fear you're feeling through, Sean, you said, Torin, you said, like, maybe it's a soup. So logically you think like that could be it. Or maybe it's something else. So try to roll against that for your fear. All right.
I have a success.
No successes.
All right. So Torin, you're like, oh, maybe it's a soup. Obviously that something's going on, but for you, Victor, take yourself a mental condition. You're going to be frightened. And actually So you become terrified. Roll a 6-sided die for me.
It's a 1.
All right, so that's okay for one round. So for like basically like just a minute, you tell me, are you like what are you doing? You could flee the area, you could just freeze where you're just kind of like stuck in terror, you could faint, or what these are 3 of your options since the sphere has taken hold of you of all these people.
If you faint,
I would
freak out.
likely I would kneel down and begin to pray right here, and just like a very intense I have to do this right now, crippling fear.
All right, that sounds like a freeze. So you just like stop what you're doing and you just start praying. All right, we'll leave it at that. In Exodus dominating all that stuff. While Torn's like, what's going on? And Astrid, she opens up the trap door for you, and she takes you up into the attic, and you'll notice up in the attic, it's littered with trunks, boxes, books, all their stuff. But she's cleaned up one end of the attic. Sophia has, and she put up like a curtains, almost like a makeshift stage. And that's what like you almost see like a set of steps, seats there, like nothing too fancy, but like some old chairs and stools that almost have for like an audience there, and she's got a bunch of lanterns and whatnot, and so yeah, she lets you into the attic.
It's unfair the way your father treats you.
Well,
I understand. Go ahead.
He wants me to take over the inn, and that's what he wants.
And that's not what you want, though.
Well, I mean, it has been in our family for years and years and generations, so
But look at the condition of the place. Maybe it's time to let go. What is it that you actually want to do?
Well, and she just kind of giggles and then looks down at the ground. I have this show, and she like opens up the curtain, and behind the curtain you see, like a theater, like a miniature shadow theater. Like you're the one who did the research on the shadow theater, and you see like paper figures on sticks. You see, cloth screens, and you see all these like clockwork mechanisms in there, like just very advanced stuff. And you give me go ahead and give me a learning roll, actually.
That's 8 dice and 1 success.
1 success. I mean, as you look at this stuff, I mean, you look at her and you look at this shadow theater, and it just seems just like so advanced that it's hard for you to like to believe that this girl was able to put it together DIY on her own. Basically, they're like these clockwork machines that you see that you're like you can't even fathom how one person could run it, or how she could run it as just a young teenage girl. It's just a very advanced setup.
Did you make this? Was it your mother's?
No, I did this. These were mine.
This work is incredible. Where'd you learn to make such things?
Well, I mean, I guess it just like kind of came to me, I suppose.
In a dream, perhaps?
Well, I mean, sure, like you get an idea, like I guess that's my mother always said that dreams were like a it's like almost seeing into another world, and sometimes you can grab ideas from this other place and bring them into your world. She would often have dreams, and she would do some paintings with them or drawings. So I guess don't you ever have ideas and you see and you're like, well, how do I make that a reality? How do I do that? And that's kind of what I did.
Your father doesn't want you to perform, so you perform here in secret on the nights when...
Well, I guess my hope was that I could, business has been bad for the year because of everything falling apart. I guess I just kind of was hoping that the two could work together, that we could have shows and it would bring people to see shows, and more people would come in, and business would be good. And I guess I was just kind of hoping that he would see that, but he doesn't see
It
that.
sounds like a good plan.
I thought so.
Was your mother, what it's... He seems to not like show people.
Well, I mean, I guess that's because of me in a way. I think, well,
so
my
you were
mother.
the one who started with the acting.
No, that was my mom, and I guess I mean, I just, let's just say, like I've read some of her. I guess there's just things that I shouldn't know that I feel like I do, and well, I don't know if father believes that he's my father. Like mom ran off with actors once long ago and came back, and then I was born, so I just don't know if, I guess. And she starts crying. She's like, I don't know if he's really my father.
Well, you noticed a resemblance, didn't you, Astrid, between them? I think we all did.
I'm going to have to do, what is it? Is it observation? To see if there's a resemblance.
You could, yeah.
Does what she... Okay, with a roll of a 1 and 2 2s. Does it sound like there's anything to that? Well, probably not.
Well, I
no
mean,
successes.
she's crying, and like she's telling you the story. So I mean, I guess Yeah.
I will use my empathy. I don't think I'll have to roll for this, just to hug her and ask if maybe she'd like to perform for me.
I could definitely put on a show for you guys. For you. Would you want to bring your friends, or would it just be for you? I could do either way.
This would be a good time for me to find out what's going on downstairs. So
Yeah, that would be a good time. I'm gonna take a quick break
metagaming.
while you guys talk out what you found. Hold on a second, please.
Yeah. I mean, you're not going to find anything out down here. Everyone's asleep.
It sounds
Except
like it sounds like
Sammy.
the show has already started
Perhaps.
while I was talking with her. So I think
You'll have to wait a minute or two for me. I'm
Out.
I think the anima of the in guests are what animate her automatons.
That could be.
And I'm going to AFK a moment also.
So everyone but the bartender's asleep down by us, correct?
Correct. And Victor has started praying profusely.
And taking Olaus did not help.
No, he seems completely out of it.
And the innkeeper is not asleep, but he also doesn't seem to know what's going on. I would like to make as much noise as I can to see if that wakes anyone up. Like slam my mug on the ground. Or on the table to see if that wakes anybody up.
No, nobody is waking it up at all. You're noticing it's just really cold, and the bartender, the innkeeper, Sammy, he also seems visually shook about everything that's going on, and he says, I think it might be best if everybody went up to their rooms. I'll take the other guests up to rooms. He hands you keys, Torin. He says, I hope you don't mind sharing a room with your friends. I think I need to give everybody else a room as well. I apologize for everything. Clearly Jonathan and the father have had too much to drink. This woman, she's clearly, you must have noticed how paranoid and on drugs she is. And, I guess Sen is just overworked.
Yeah, it seems odd that all would happen at once, but fair enough. I'll take Olaus up to our room, and I will lift him up and carry him upstairs, following the innkeeper, who's, I'm assuming, taking somebody up.
Well, he would. You see him. First of all, he takes the waiter and the cook into a bedroom that's just kind of off the dining room here.
Okay.
But then he grabs I guess he'll probably grab the woman first, and he takes her upstairs, and he says, "Yes." And so you notice that there are 4 rooms here on the right. These will be the guest rooms. And again, so there's 5 rooms on the right. Yeah, he says the 4 are for guests. You notice 2 other rooms on the one side, and then I guess tucked behind a corner behind the stairs is another room as well.
All right. How is the repair of this place? Is it just as bad, worse, fine, or is it falling apart?
Well, I mean, the floors are squeaking. As you go up the step, the wobble. There's wobbly on the handles, and the doorknob kind of is loose, just like other doorknobs. But it does seem dilapidated up here.
All right. I would like to put Olaus down in a bed in one of our rooms, and I would also like to take my rifle out of its case and strap it over my shoulder. I'm not ready to go to sleep yet.
All right, Victor, at this point, you've woken up from, you've done your prayers. You feel, more confident. Just make sure you mark down that you got that mental condition.
Yes.
At this point, Astrid comes down, as everybody else is getting loaded up in rooms.
Astrid, everyone's fallen asleep. The innkeeper suggests we go to our room for the night. Not quite ready. It seems odd that everyone fell asleep.
It seems odd indeed. I just spoke with Sophia and let me try to get that action back. The show is about to start, and I came down to see if you wanted to see the show.
Cha-cha-cha-cha. Yes, is the show going to be down in the dining room?
No, apparently the father never let her perform. So she does it in a corner of her room.
Well,
I see the rifle. I said, do you think that's necessary?
we don't know yet, do we?
I go to my gear and I draw the rapier.
There you go.
Like at this point, like
And
Sammy
then
goes,
I apologize and say, it's my first job.
Sammy goes back downstairs, and as he does, Sophia is up at the. She says, come on, and invites you all up, and she shuts the trap door behind her, and she gets. You see her, as you watch her, she gets behind the curtain and she starts cranking these machines and like all these shadow puppets, and we'll get you out of here at 10:00 because we're about to hit the
boss.
Just the cliffhanger, as it were. And so you see the shadow dance, and this is going to kind of go along with the story that I've got for you. And she starts off and she says, a young man wanders through Europe, seeing things few people are fortunate enough to witness. He dances with queens and visits Versailles and the Palais Royal. There people perform his plays and praise his name, and life dances along like a dream. But the people's revolution sweeps the land with grenades and fire. Like it's all a very intricate, like a very impressive sight. Those who are playing and singing end up dead by the side of the road. The young man flees the song of the guillotine, and you see like a shadow puppet, get guillotined in the head. And it is like it's beautiful. Like you almost hear like music playing, and as all these figures is moving around. Our hero returns home to a city in the north. He walks through its gate without shoes, poor and mute. The house where he was born is burnt to ashes, and his family is missing. He kneels by the side of the road, begging for coin, and no one knows that his name was once sung in the palaces of Europe. Suddenly he sees things no one else does, creatures creeping, flying, and crawling, as the invisibles reveal themselves to him. When he points them out to others, he is mocked and beaten. A man picks him up from the street and has him bathed and clothed. The man's name is Albert, and his mansion is a place of love and song. Our young hero performs his play and sings to him for days and nights, and they eat fruit and drink wine. Albert introduces his friends. In the young man's dreams, they are all dancing together, but the dreams lie. It was you. You brought me here. You asked me to sit down and talk. We spoke of the future of the world. I have the right to refuse. You said so and smiled. And then you butchered me like a pig one hangs from the ceiling. You buried my body in unholy ground without priest or consecration. Now dreams are all I have left. I gaze out over the audience at the Palais Royal. And at this point you look over and the girl is like, she's cranking it almost mechanically and she's just staring off into the distance. I dance with a princess. I eat cake. I look up into your eyes. Albert and I let you take my dirty hand. You summon me to Peary's Inn. You make me a villainous proposition and I decline. You cut me up. I scream, not wanting to die. At last you are back. Welcome. And at this point, a figure emerges from the shadow play, and we'll leave it at a cliffhanger for that for next week.
Yep.
It's a good thing our backup is going to be here.
Yes. That's right.
The gun was necessary. All right. I got to go pick up the kid. Thanks, everyone. That was good. I enjoyed.
I hope
Later.
you had fun.
Great. It was great.
Oh, good. I'm glad you guys enjoy it. We'll continue next week where hopefully we can wrap this up. We'll get some reinforcements maybe from anyone else who shows up. Hopefully they'll have listened to it and they'll catch on pretty quickly as to what's going on. And I hope you guys had fun, got a little scared, got a little atmosphere, and et cetera and so forth, got a little learning. So.
Oh, yeah. It was very cool.
All right, then. I will see you guys next week.
See you next week.
All right, have a good one.
Well, what did you think about that? The system seems like a very dark world to live in. We had a smaller crew this session as many of us couldn't make it. But we'll all be back for part 2 and the conclusion of our one-shot in the RPG system Vaesen, brought to you by Free League Publishing. Thanks for listening to the Wednesday Night Crew, and as always, see you next week. Hey there, listeners. Would you like to support the Wednesday Night Crew as we go on adventures in Eberron, as well as play through other game systems as we have in the past, like Ice Fleet and Alien the role-playing game? If you're interested in supporting us, just go to patreon.com/Eberron Adventures, and then maybe you could be as cool as Jonathan and Andrew, our first 2 supporters. Once again, that's patreon.com/Eberron Adventures. Donate and get your name in the credits. I mean, that's kind of cool. Anyways, thanks for your support, and as always, we'll see you next week.